Welcome back to the Wolff Den. I am Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. We're waiting on our guest to join. Might have some technical difficulties, but we'll start off today. We're going to talk about the NBA draft. We're actually happy to be back in the Wolff Den. We were on location at the Cater Source and Special Event trade show floor yesterday, but now we're back in the Wolff Den and we're talking NBA draft. So if you have any NBA draft thoughts or questions, let us know and we'll try and answer them for you. Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State, the consensus number one pick here. I'm not a draft expert. I watch a lot of college basketball. I think it's overall, it's not that heavy at the top with talent and game changers must have. So we'll see what happens there. A pretty deep draft, considering that Luke Garza, who is the Wooden Award winner and consensus unanimous player of the year, is late second round on most mock drafts. And I think the last one I saw from NBADraft.net, he's going to go undrafted. So you got the Wooden Award and consensus national player of the year in college basketball. Somehow no NBA team thinks that he will do justice in the league. And you see that a lot. Players who were great in college, not so great in the pros. Some players who were not as dominant in college, and they carve out a ridiculous career in the pros. So it'll be interesting to see. A little shocked to see that Garza isn't on most lists, and if so, you're looking at maybe in the last half of the second round. A new dynamic this year: we have G League players for the overtime elite, Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga, who are looking to get in the draft. They're both consensus lottery picks, and kind of without the one and done, this is the closest you get to one and done with those players. It will be interesting to see how they do. And I'm not sure if it's an indictment on the G League or overtime elite if they don't do well. I mean, I'm not sure how that year either helped them or hurt them. It's hard to actually measure that because you just never know how someone's going to, no matter how good they are, you just never know how good they're going to translate to the next elite level, how well of a fit they are for the team they're at, whether or not they can get playing time. So it's really kind of a luck of the draw and sort of a crapshoot. Plenty of five-star basketball players who turn out to be not very good college players. It's evaluating talent is a difficult thing. Most people agree on the players who they feel are going to have the most impact. A lot of that is predicated on which teams are drafting at which area. So it's need. You don't always just draft on who the best available is, depending on how good you are. So some teams need a lot of people. They might try and trade down. But the consensus 5, maybe even 6, it's Cunningham to the Pistons out of Okie State, Jalen Green out of the G League to Houston, Evan Mobley from USC, 7-footer, going to the Cavs, Jalen Suggs, a great point guard from Gonzaga, going to the Raptors, Scotty Barnes, a tall, small forward slasher from Florida State to Orlando, and then Kuminga from the G League going to the Thunder. You just never know if there's going to be a trade. If someone gets, pick someone sooner, then everything starts to tumble. Very much like the NFL draft, but you only have 2 picks, 2 rounds. Some people have more than 2 picks. Some people have no picks. I'm interested always to see the players, as I mentioned, Luke Garza, the players who dominated college basketball and where they're going to go. You got people like Corey Kispert, might end up just outside of the lottery, and he was considered one of the best players. I believe he was an All-American. Franz Wagner from Michigan, looking to be a first-rounder. As a Gator fan, we're interested to see where Trey Mann lands. I think he's going to add some value to the pros. Got to go to the right team. I saw people with him in Atlanta. I think he's kind of like a Trey Young, but it's sort of under the same mold. I don't know if the two of them can play together, so that'll be interesting to see where they go. And obviously, I watch a lot of SEC basketball, so there's going to be a lot of SEC basketball players who are drafted. Moses Moody, probably the highest one on there. You got Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer from Tennessee. So they're going to have a couple first rounders. Herb Jones, who won the Player of the Year from Bama, is predicted again, maybe a second round pick. Maybe he will go undrafted. So it's you just never know. You never know with the draft. We used to get real excited about the draft just to see who's going to go where. I think it's an exciting draft to watch because there's 2 rounds, and I think in basketball, without helmets and all of that, these players are more recognizable. The majority of them are players that, if you watch college basketball, you have seen them play. Not as many international. You're looking at probably 5 or so in the first round. Back in the day when the international rush came, you'd have 5 in the lottery. And it'd be a tough thing because you'd be like, look, we've never seen these guys play, but the experts know. And you got people like Luka Doncic and Dirk Nowitzki, and I mean, just so many great Jokic, just so many great international players. And you see that the international stage is getting better as they beat up on the USA team. Although I'm confident that USA will get their act together when they get to the Olympics. We will see about that. The women's team lost a couple of exhibitions, which they never do. The U.S. women's soccer team lost. So it's kind of crazy stuff going on in the world with the Olympics coming up. Obviously, these are exhibitions. They don't count, but you just never know. As we saw, congrats to the Milwaukee Bucks on winning a championship, but the NBA season and playoffs were riddled with injuries. So there's just a lot of things that need to go right for you to get where you need to go, and that's win a championship. That's what the NBA guys are trying to do. I think ESPN does a good job with the draft. They have Billis on. They have some experts to talk about it. There's always some compelling stories. And so I think, it's a concise night. It looks like they're going to be on ABC and ESPN, so they'll probably have some split type of coverage, maybe a different type of coverage on the ESPN if you want to go back and look. It's more of a fast pace than the NFL draft. I guess it's probably the most. I mean, the NFL draft gets a lot of publicity and press, but and people tune in. But the NBA is probably maybe the most exciting one to watch, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Do you have any predictions, any wild predictions, any sleepers that you have? I like Jared Butler a lot from Baylor. I think Garza is going to be able to do some good things somewhere. I'm not really sure what the knock on is. I haven't followed it that much, but for him to be in the last half of the second round and undrafted is unheard of to me. Same with Herb Jones, Player of the Year in the SEC, and there were some really good. It's not like there wasn't a lot of good players to choose from. Him being there and see how that translates. A lot of people making some decisions to get out of the draft and go back to college, and some interesting ones that people you might know of. Scottie Pippen Jr. out of Vandy. I thought he was going to go. I didn't expect him to come back. Kofi Cockburn, Hunter Dickerson, Ron Harper Jr. out of Rutgers, Juzang, UCLA, Bagley from ASU, all of them withdrawing from the draft and going back to school. Some of them will be transferring, but it's tough. It's a hard thing to do to try and evaluate where you're actually going to be, because you're going to try and are you going to get drafted? There's no guarantees. A lot of these teams are telling you one thing. Some of them are telling other teams other things to try and put misinformation out there. If you're not a first-round pick, you're not guaranteed the money on the contract. Maybe you're better off going and being a free agent so you can go somewhere that you want to go and you might be a better fit for. But, looking at the All-American team, you got Butler, who's not to be in the lottery, which I think he was. Cunningham, going to be the number 1 overall pick. I think that's a done deal. Ayo from Illinois, Garza, who's undrafted to late, Kispert right around the lottery cusp, Cockburn on the second team pulling back, Dickinson coming back, Mobley coming back, Suggs is going to be the second pick, and then Drew Tim. I believe he withdrew too, but he might. It's very possible he might be in. But you got conference players of the years, and I'm excited to see where everyone goes today. You got a couple of teams at the top of the draft, interestingly enough, that are pretty well set and with some good picks, multiple picks. I think the Thunder have 2 or 3 picks in the first round. They're going to be able to find some players. I know that the Magic have a bunch of players, 2 lottery picks, so they might be able to find the future, as you see with Phoenix and Booker and Ayton. Sometimes you can build through the draft, same way the Golden State Warriors did, and then kind of add some pieces as you need it. But you can get some very good players in the middle and the end of the first round, even the second round. A lot of good players out there for the taking, and we just never know how good someone's going to be. I will tell you that my sleeper, I think Trey Mann is going to do some very good things. I'm going to pick Butler from Baylor. That teams are going to regret not choosing him higher than they will, and that's the guy I pick. I think someone like Moses Moody and Kispert are being kind of thought of as late first round picks. I think the 2 of them are really going to be able to do well. It's all about shooting. You get a lot more open shots in the NBA, so someone who can shoot, especially if you're a big guy who can shoot, and you have some height to you, that's going to be something that can really help. Someone like Kispert, who's 6'7", Moody 6'6". These are big guys who can shoot and slash and get some buckets. Some great defense played in the NBA, but also not always great defense played in the NBA. There's a lot of the games are almost always in the hundreds now, and it's crazy to think how much scoring there is, and just Giannis dropping 50 in the finals deciding game is crazy. I would think you would let other people beat. And Giannis did not go. He was an international player. Doncic, so international, dominating the NBA right now, but also some draft picks like Booker, like Trae Young, who came into the league and are really starting to get. These are all stars. These are the future of the NBA. And I'm excited to see who these next players are. If you have a favorite team and a player that you'd like them to draft, and let us know. Put in the comments. Reach out. It's draft is July 29th, so you're looking at next week. It'll be on ABC and ESPN. We'll see if we can get Matthew Maurer from the draft review to join the show before then, possibly on the 29th. Maybe we'll do a double episode, a special episode for the draft. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the draft. I think it's fun and exciting for the players who get to witness history and see where they're going to be next. I think that's one of the best feelings for an athlete, and one of the best moments for them is you get that call and you realize your lifelong dream is coming true. What's your thoughts on players who do come out? We have a guy from the Gators, Scotty Lewis, who did not withdraw his name. He has an agent. Measurables were great at the combine, but not seeing him on any of the draft boards. Maybe he'll be an undrafted free agent. Maybe he'll go play overseas. One thing I do know is there's too many people who are entering the draft and then withdrawing and entering the portal. It's just, there's not enough space for all of them, whether it's in the draft or even for the top teams. The numbers don't add up. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. Plus, you got the extra year for the NCAA for the players who want to play an extra year that was lost due to COVID. Everyone has the opportunity to do that. And, that'll be interesting to see. But big college basketball fan. Let's see what happens. Let us know in the comments. Let us know who you think is going to be a steal. Who do you think is going to flop at the beginning? Who do you want your favorite team to pick? Send us some comments. We're off tomorrow, so come back on Monday for a new week of great guests on the Wolff Den. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe. Enjoy.